26.1 version of Plasticity introduces changes that will absolutely revolutionize the way you model. And I'm not joking, I'm actually serious. Now in this video, what I want to do is I want to show you the most important ones, those that actually going to really impact how you model in Plasticity, okay? So let's get started. Number one is going to be polysplines and blender bridge. Number two, align to curves. Number three, slots. Number four, place instances. Number five, 2D plane snapping. Number six, outliner changes. And number seven, export hidden lines. So let's start with the first one, polysplines and blender bridge. Now look, I have a separate video on this because I think it requires a separate video. And this video explains literally everything. But let me tell you this, polysplines completely change the sub-D modeling in Blender. Polysplines technology allows you to import subdivided mesh into Plasticity, and Plasticity converts it to polysplines, which basically displays network of quads and separate polygons. And what it does, it's actually increasing the quality of the surface to G2 perfect continuity of A-class surface quality, which is insane because you can have a bit of a wonky mesh or wonky connections or wonky transitions between surfaces in Blender, but when you bring it into Plasticity, Plasticity changes how this mesh is being curved a bit, okay? So it's really profound. So go ahead and watch this video. I'm gonna show you this video on the screen and link it in the video description because this video is gonna tell you everything about polysplines and also about the new bridge, which is also cool. Now let's talk about curves because that's what I wanna talk about in this video, okay? We're gonna go back to this gun in a minute, but first let's talk about curves, right? So curve align is a new feature that is absolutely bonkers, and I wanted this thing for ages because it's so cool. So let's say I have a curve in here and I'm going to misalign it. So I'm going to bring it a bit on the x-axis here, right? And I'm going to create another curve, all right? And I'm going to create it somewhere like, like this, all right? And maybe I'm going to move it, a bit like that, okay? Now, if I wanted to combine these two curves, what I could do is, grab them and run a bridge command, right? Which is going to connect these two with a bridge. But the new align command allows you to align the two ends of these curves. That's one of the things it's doing, okay? So if I'm gonna go to F menu and click on align, which by the way, I added to my favorites, but you can just simply type align here and it's gonna pop. And you click that, you're gonna get this menu. And I can choose the quality of connection between these two curves. It can be G0, which is flat, G1, G2, or even G3. And you got these gizmos, which allow you to change the flow between these two curves. And you can create stuff like this. Look, this is absolutely genius. If you wanted to, for example, create some really cool shapes like helmets, complicated designs, curvy sci-fi shapes, etc. And when you create outlines with curves and then you need to merge them, it was an absolute nightmare before to do that. Now you can use this tool and it's fantastic. But this tool doesn't end here. Let me show you what you can really do with this. And this shit is crazy, okay? So let's say I have a circle here and I have another curve running around, right? Let's say, something like this, okay? And I wanted to align this curve with this circle and create a tangent point, meaning that this curve is going to be flawlessly coming into the circle and will create a continuity between these two lines, right? So I'm going to select them both, go to align. So I'm selecting curves, not the points in this case, because circle doesn't have a point. And I'm gonna go to align and look what happens. This is insane, right? So we got G0, but you can choose G1 or G2, and it's going to flow perfectly. And the curve is gonna adjust and jump and, kind of change its shape depending on what kind of curvature is possible with this connection. And you can again use these, gizmos here to change how this curve shapes, right? Another feature is that you can move a curve around the curve. So watch this, right? After you align it. So if I'm going to create another curve here like this, and I'm going to, let's say, let's just move it a little bit down like this, right? And we're going to create another curve here, right? So create another curve like this. Let me just nuke this. I'm gonna select these two and I'm gonna align them, right? And now what I can do is I can actually move this curve along this curve, and it's gonna be touching this curve all the time. And when I decide that, okay, this is the place I wanna, kind of align them, I can still go and choose the alignment method. Let's say we're gonna go with G1 or G2. And now we can trim this nonsense and you got a perfect connection between these two. I mean, possibilities are crazy, right? And if you're gonna combine this with XNARP and stuff, I mean, you can create some crazy nonsense in Plasticity, I think this is my favorite change in 26.1. Is the most practical one in my opinion, right? Now, next one's gonna be slots, and this is really easy. Just make sure that your curve is planar, which means it's flat on one of the axes. So you just go to F menu, type slots. I'm gonna click here on my favorites, and boom, there you go. And you can, grab this. You can extrude it. You can do whatever the hell you want with it, right? You can use it as a cutter, imprint, whatever. But if you have, like I said, a curve that's not planar, it's going to be shifted on all axes, which means it's not planar on either of the axes, right? So it's curved on Y, curved on Z, and curved on X. The slots feature will not work. It will display an error that you need a planar surface, planar curve for this to work. Next one's going to be placing instances. That's really cool. So if you don't know instances, I have a video on this as well, so go ahead and watch it. But this one is, pretty neat. So when you work with instances, you can work really quickly with repeatable details. So what you can do, for example, you can create a detail, right, somewhere here, and put it in a collection and, gonna keep it there. And you can now place an instance instead of placing real mesh, right? So if I go to Control D menu, which is the place gizmo, and grab this bottom face here, and I'm going to press F to flip it, you get all the options in here. If I'm going to place this, right, I'm going to be placing a mesh, not an instance. You can see that this is actually a mesh. I can, go here and edit this. This is not an instance. So what you have to do, you have to select this, go to Control D, choose the plane you want to use as a plane you want to place with, then slap it in here, press F, and then press I to toggle make instances. Now this preview doesn't update, still looks like a mesh. But when you place this, you see that's an instance. You can see clearly that you have these faint lines and it doesn't really look like a mesh anymore. And now if I'm going to go here to this mesh and start, editing the mesh, you'll see my instance is gonna edit as well. Another cool feature here is that if you're gonna, for example, scale it or rotate it, they're gonna rotate with the main mesh, but you can lock the transformation. The menu is a little bit vague, because it says transform instances inversely. What it means basically then, if you transform this one on a Z plus, they're gonna go on a Z minus. So in short, if you lock these will not move, rotate, or scale. So you can do whatever the hell you want with this mesh and instances will not budge, okay? Cool, now next one's gonna be 2D plane snapping. This one is really simple. Let's say you have curves right here like this, right? And we're going to duplicate it here. And let's say I wanted to run a curve in between them, right? So I'm gonna go here, run a curve, and it's gonna be basically on this plane. Now an issue is that if I wanted to run another curve, it will not stay on the same plane, okay? You can clearly see that it's basically behind this curve. So the only way to make sure that my curve, the new one's going to be on the same plane, is to select the curve, press space to create a temporary plane, and then we can, run a curve that's going to be actually coplanar, right? Now the new feature allows you to create curves on each of the axes, or the plane of each of the axes, so Z, Y, and X, depending on how you orient it, right? So if I go here to this option and enable 2D snapping, any curve I'm going to place here in a space is gonna be on the X-axis. If I rotate myself here to the left, any curve I place is gonna be on y-axis, and if I go to the top, any curve I place is gonna be aligned on the z-axis, right? And you can see that if I go through these curves, right, like that, all of these curves are going to be on the same plane. So it just makes it a bit easier to trim them, right, if you want to create some cool shape. Now, let's talk about outliners. So let me just create two cubes in here, and I'm going to put them in different groups, okay? So I'm going to have two groups, group 5 and group 6. And if I wanted to add another element to my scene, right, it's going to be added here under solids. So watch. If I want to create a new object here, right, it's going to go to solids. It's really annoying because I have to move it, right? And the list can just, start expanding. So if you're, for example, working on a specific group, like here, we would be working on legs or a chest or arms of a mech, right? And you wanted all these new elements to be grouped into a specific, folder, then you can just double click on this folder and it's gonna highlight the folder. And now if I expand this and add a cube, you'll see it's gonna be added to that folder. Now the problem with this one is that you cannot really turn it off. The only way to turn it off is either to switch it to another group or turn this eyeball on and off to turn it off. I hope they're gonna fix it, but there you go. And another thing they added to the outliner is search function. So if you want to search for something specific, if you have your, meshes named, then you can search here for something very specific, okay? And the last one is gonna be really cool one, and I'm gonna show you this an example of this gun, which by the way is a gun from our new upcoming course for Plasticity, where you're gonna learn how to design this awesome sci-fi weapon. Plus, I'm gonna show you how to retopologize in Blender one of the parts of this gun. It's a bonus section that teaches you proper retopology. The course should be dropping very soon, or should be actually out. We plan to drop it in the end of April. So if you're watching this, the course is out. The link is going to be in the video description. Go ahead and grab it if you want. It's a fantastic course. Now, let's talk about the export hidden lines feature. So this one is really cool. What it allows you to do, it allows you to create a really awesome, kind of like a blueprint sort of a sketch with all the lines, and you have quite a lot of control over it. So let me show you. So all you need to do is go to F menu and type export, right? And you need to click on this one, export hidden line. And then you simply select, wherever you want to save it, change the name of this SVG file and export. I'm going to replace it. And then Plasticity is going to create a preview. Now, you have quite a lot of options in here. They're quite simple, so let me just run you through them. First of all, you can have multiple views in here. So on your left, front, top, etc. And, if you have a really complicated model, be careful because it's going to be a massive file, okay? A massive file. So, just warning you. But you can add all kinds of, orientations here. Another one is going to be style and shading. So you can turn on or off this shaded background by simply expanding this arrow, right? By simply clicking on this arrow, and the shaded background will be adding a lot of data to the SVG files. So it's gonna bloat this file to hell. So be careful, but it's not gonna lie, it looks cool, right? So keep it if you want it, but that's an option. Then you can change the size of these styles here. So you have visible stroke, silhouette, and smooth. Visible stroke is for hard edges of your model. The silhouette is the outer edges, and the smooth is for subtle lines where surfaces blend into one another. Now next, the pixel scale is going to be just the quality of this shaded background. These three going to be for invisible lines, so lines that are basically inside of the mesh, right? You can see through the mesh, going to be like a dotted line. These, I call them hatchlings. These names are hilarious. Probably some technical nonsense, but basically this is for people who want to create professional or professionally looking, blueprints. They're gonna add additional lines on bevel, on bevels, on flat faces. Just play with it. I'm not gonna be using that. We're gonna be bloating the file. Also, it's gonna look way more convoluted. This could be good for very simple surfaces, but for something like this, it's just gonna be nonsensical to turn it on. This one, don't touch it. This is tolerance for the file. I'll just keep it as default, just collapse it, don't worry about it. And once you're done, you can just simply export it, and it's gonna export the file as a SVG. And you can bring it to Photoshop and you can open it and you can have some fun. Now I'm warning you, these files are massive. Like this file I exported right now is gonna be about 14,000 pixels, which is crazy, right? Look at this, it's 14,000, you know, by 10,000 pixels. It's crazy, right? So it's gonna take some time to open it, but the quality of it is really cool. It could look really awesome on your portfolio, especially if you have some kind of a cool model like a Mac or something. So you could just, you know, create these and they're gonna look really professional. And I think it's going to enhance your portfolio. It's going to show people topology. This could be fantastic to use, for example, with the poly splines, you know, so the sub D feature of Plasticity, which works with sub D in Blender. And like I said, I have a separate video on that. So if you want to watch how that works, go ahead and watch this video, okay? So there you go, that's the image. We can pop a, you know, background here and make it white or black or whatever you want. But it looks really cool. You know, the quality is awesome. You got all these lines, you got these dotted lines in behind the where you can't see them. Like there's a, you know, cutout in here, and these lines in the back. It looks fantastic, right? It looks really fantastic. So I encourage you to play with this. It's a brilliant feature. Well, that's it for the video. And like I said, if you want to model this gun and learn how to retopologize mesh from Plasticity in Blender, grab our course. It's going to be linked in the video description. It's a brand new course, just dropped, and it's fantastic. And if you want to learn more about Plasticity, I have a fantastic video which shows you 10 amazing tips for Plasticity, specifically for hard surface modeling, which I use every single time I model. So check this video out. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.